Today, we're diving into a classic story from Munshi Premchand called Abhushan. Now, the title itself is fascinating because it means the ornament. But as you're about to see, it could just as easily mean the affliction. It's a story all about how something beautiful can become something, well, something destructive. And Premchand does not mess around. Right from the get-go, he hits us with this powerful line. It's like he's telling us straight up, don't get dazzled by the glitter. The jewels in the story, they're not symbols of beauty, they're symbols of something deeply flawed. Because really, at its core, this is a cautionary tale. It's about how the want, the absolute craving for just one thing, a piece of jewelry, can completely tear a family apart, push a good person to the brink, and in the end, show us a really hard truth about what we should actually be chasing in life. So let's get into it and meet the people at the heart of this tragedy. The whole story is built on this foundation of opposites, of two very different worlds. Okay, so check this out. On one side, you have Sheetla and Vimal. They don't have a penny to their name. In fact, they come from a family that used to have it all. But what they do have is love. And then on the other side, you have Mangala and Suresh. They're living the high life with all the money and power. But their home is just cold, completely empty of any real affection. It's the perfect setup. Each household has exactly what the other one is missing. And here's the spark that lights the fuse. Sheetla goes over to the landowner Suresh's house and sees his new wife, Mangala, just dripping in jewels. You know, the kind of stuff that screams wealth and importance. And that single sight just plants a seed of envy so deep inside her, she goes home and instead of feeling happy for her neighbor, she just unloads all that bitterness onto her husband. And man, the words she uses, they're just brutal. She says this to Vimal. Think about that. She's not just saying, I want a necklace. She's twisting the knife. She's basically saying his love isn't real because he can't afford to buy her gold. She turns love into a price tag, a transaction he just can't win. Well, Vimal is absolutely crushed by this. And his reaction, it sends their lives into a complete tailspin. This is where we really start to see the true cost of that one burning desire for a piece of jewelry. He's completely convinced that his love means nothing without money to back it up. So he makes this unbelievably drastic vow. He tells her he'll either come back with enough gold to shower her in ornaments, or he'll die trying. He believes her heart has to be bought with treasure, not with tenderness. And just like that, he leaves. And the fallout is immediate and just devastating. Vimal's gone for 3 years, working himself to the bone in another country, and in that time, his family just collapses. The farm goes to ruin, they sink into debt, and then comes the real gut punch. Sheetla has to sell the little jewelry she already had just so they can eat. Her home, once filled with love, is now just a place of fighting and misery. But, okay, while Sheetla's world is falling apart, what about Mangala? You know, the woman with all the jewels that started this whole mess? Well, her story is basically the exact opposite of Sheetla's, and it's just as tragic. See, Mangala has everything Sheetla was dreaming of. The ornaments, the fancy house, the high status. She's a good wife, devoted, capable, but none of that matters because her husband, Suresh, thinks she's ugly. And because of that, he treats her with nothing but contempt. She's literally living in a gilded cage, just starving for one kind word from him. And if you thought it couldn't get any more twisted, buckle up. The reason Suresh can't stand his own wife, it's because he's obsessed with the beauty of another woman. And guess who? Sheetla. He saw her just one time, on the very day she came to see his wife's jewelry. And he's been haunted by her face ever since. It's an absolutely cruel twist of fate. But eventually, something snaps. Suresh comes home, furious that Mangala is singing with her friends, and tries to lay down the law. But for the very first time, Mangala stands up for herself. She tells him, you can be the boss of the whole world out there, but in this house, I have a say. And that's the moment of clarity for her. She realizes that without his love, without his respect, she has no real place in that house. The wealth, the status, those beautiful empty ornaments, they're all completely worthless. So with nothing more than the clothes she's wearing, she just walks away from it all. Okay, so this is it. This is the moment where these two parallel lives, these two stories of suffering are finally going to collide, and it's the emotional heart of the entire story. So as Mangala is walking, with no idea where she's going, she ends up passing through Sheetla's village. And Sheetla, now poor and humbled, sees this well-dressed woman looking tired and offers her a place to rest. And just like that, the woman who seemingly has everything meets the woman who lost everything trying to get it. Sheetla, of course, is confused. She asks her, "Why would you leave a home with so much wealth?" And Mangala's answer is so simple but so powerful. She just says, "Where love is not, I cannot stay." For her, it was that simple. All the money in the world couldn't fill a home that was empty of love. And for Sheetla, hearing this, it's like the whole world just stops. It hits her like a lightning bolt. The exact same ornaments that she destroyed her life for, the very jewels that drove her loving husband away, they brought zero happiness to the woman who actually wore them. And in that one moment, she finally truly understands what her desire has cost her. So that single conversation, that powerful moment of shared truth, it sets off a chain reaction. It forces both Sheetla and Suresh to look in the mirror and completely redefine what actually has value. And you can see the transformation in 3 steps. First, Sheetla is filled with regret. She now hates the very idea of those ornaments that ruined her life. Then, you have Suresh. He's full of remorse for his cruelty, and he goes to find Mangala to beg her to come back. And finally, reconciliation. He finds her, but she's a different person. Her face is radiant, not because of makeup or jewels, but because of a newfound self-worth. So in the end, the story completely flips our idea of beauty on its head. It argues that real beauty isn't something you wear. It's not about your appearance. It's something deeper. It's found in your character, in your dignity, and more than anything, in the love you have in your life. And that kind of leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? We might not be chasing literal gold necklaces, but what are the ornaments in our lives today? Is it a job title? The number of followers we have online? The stuff we own? And the really tough question is, could any of those things actually be afflictions in disguise, distracting us from what really matters?